Having someone like Dane just being able to just play with me, it feels so surreal. Like, I can't even describe it, but I cherish it every second that I can, every second of every day. We just had our prayer, our DB prayer we do every Wednesday. Outside, he was next to me, and I just grabbed his hand a little bit harder just because, you never know when, like, the last day could be that you getting to experience something like this, So I'm cherishing it every moment I can.
So I'm sitting here thinking about Damar Hamlin, praying for Damar, praying for his family, and trying to feel what they're going through. Obviously repping all my buff. So I'm sitting here thinking about Damar Hamlin, praying for Damar, praying for his family, and trying to feel what they're going through. Obviously repping all my Buffalo, all my Bill stuff today. And I'm trying to wrap my head around it. I'm someone I think who takes a second to process these things, and something has sort of been running through my head as I've read more of the studies about the CPR and people's neurological outcomes afterwards, and people's heartbeat being brought back and everything like that today. And seeing a really remarkable and unprecedented, in my view, call to prayer that's been going on. And the thought that's been running through my head nonstop is, after reading some of these studies and understanding that 10 minutes of CPR is a really crucial mark. It's a really crucial timeline. And there's a really precipitous decline in outcomes after that 10-minute mark. And I think we all understand and have heard that Damar Hamlin got CPR performed on him for 9 minutes last night on the field before his heartbeat came back. And if you know me, I'm someone who doesn't like to ascribe God in everything. I know God is present in everything. I know God controls everything, but I also know that sometimes things just happen, and there's reasons that I can't comprehend why God does or does not intervene in situations. They're complicated questions that I don't pretend I can understand. It's a struggle, I think, for any of us to understand why terrible things happen in this world, why God may or may not intervene actively. We know God is fully in control. We believe that God is making the sad things come untrue and his perfect kingdom is going to reign here. But there are times when he does not intervene, and I always struggle to strike that balance to understand what is God and maybe what's happenstance, what's chance. I don't like to over-spiritualize things. I think that I sort of have grown up in some environments where I feel that people may over-spiritualize things, and sometimes I'm just like, no, that's just people's decisions, that's consequences, that's chance. It just happens that way. But seeing that field last night and seeing just outspoken prayer, I mean, guys like Tim Settle and others just on their knees, crying, praying, Sean McDermott, Stephon Diggs, and many others just clearly just crying out to God for their brother. And the way it wasn't a cliche like football, pray, it's part of our pregame routine type of deal. It was, you could see the guttural cry their heart. And I don't know, today I'm thinking about that 10-minute mark and his heartbeat coming back in 9 minutes and just wondering, I don't know, I mean, and learning more about Damar and who he is as a guy, and just wondering if God said, you know what, I'm not done with him yet. This guy's not done yet. And the idea of a God, us serving a God that can be moved, is really powerfully stirring my heart today. I think sometimes I can be skeptical of the power of prayer, and that's my own fault, and that's a lack of faith on my part, I believe. It's sort of a macro view of the world where God's God and he's going to do what he's going to do, and you know, what part do we play in that? Sometimes I question that. Sometimes maybe I wrestle with it. Sometimes I just sort of opt out, and that's on me. But I'm deeply moved today at the thought of the faith of those guys and their deep, heartfelt love for him, moving God to action, and just seeing that might be a possibility. There might be something to it. But the idea of serving a God that can be moved, it's really got me today.
Finally, and just as important as anything, is glory to God for his keeping Damar and his family in the palm of his hand over the last couple of days, and his healing powers.
I opened my home and they had guys over. I just sent out, hey, anybody come over, we're going to pray, we're going to decompress a little bit, and that was good to get guys back. And for the first time in a few days, some guys actually smiled a little bit and like knew obviously we were getting updates and trusting what we were being told by the doctors and Nate and Bean. But just a good chance for guys to be around each other, and again, just having some worship for Damar and his family.